Welcome back to On Deck Circle Podcast, brought to you by Fantasy Six Pack. I am your excited host, Nick Z, over here with my very good friend, Mr. Jason Beckner. Jason, how are you on this Tuesday at 5:45 your time, 6:45 my time? We are just about a little less than 38 hours until we have some real baseball consistently until September. And I know I'm excited, but how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling good, Nick. Like you said, it's the opening day eve. 2 more sleeps, and we have meaningful baseball. And not only that, but Thursday is shaping up to be a great sports day. We have opening day, so baseball from like noon to midnight. And then we have NCAA tournament kicking back off. And we have NCAA March Madness going from like noon to midnight. So Thursday and Friday are going to be amazing. One of my favorite things is when the Cubs play West Coast. I'm a bit of a night owl, so I love when they get to start at 9 p.m. watching late night baseball. The first 4 games of the season are in Arizona, so I'm loving that.
Well, you know for sure I am not a night owl. I am in bed around 9:30 every weeknight, 10:30, 11 every weekend. But enough with my sleep schedule. Time for my favorite part of the show, which is the cold open question of the week. And I want to know. So I want to know, what's the first purchase you made as like an adult that you were like, if I was 21-year-old me, I can't believe I spent this much money on this thing. So like, I think you get it. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Right. Ready, set, play the music. All right, Jason. So what do we got?
There's a few easy answers, right? And then the first one I think off the top of my head is a car. When I first graduated college and moved back home, I splurged on a nice new car, Ford Explorer. Yeah, I was like, I'm single. I just came back from college. I got a good paying job. Let me get a car. And at 21, I'd have been like, you're crazy for spending this amount of money. But the older I've gotten, the more not crazier, but the more expensive, obscure things I've bought. And I think not just the easy, but the most simple answer is a couch. Because when I'm 21, man, I was,
you're getting a couch that 2 homeless guys were just like,
yeah,
doing weird stuff on. Yeah,
it was one of those weird, smelly out of the back alley. Bring it in, as long as it didn't have any bad stains on it. We were bringing that thing in the apartment and riding out on that thing for sure. So I think a couch is pretty much a simple, easy, straightforward answer I can give.
Yeah. So currently we are in the market for a new like dining room set.
Ooh.
And we're in the portion of our life, early 30s, where it's like, do we get like the $300, $500 thing that's going to last us maybe 5 years?
Mm-hmm.
Or do you go to like the 850,000 ish range where you're like, well, this will just be our table for like it. So I think we've officially graduated from like the Wayfair and IKEA stuff. So we're going to like furniture stores, but I look at it and I'm like, it's a table. But if it's a table that we have for the next 20 years, it's worth whatever it is. So that's the current dilemma going on in the Zaniboni Comac house.
But I will say I've never bought a kitchen set. We were handed down one from our parents
Yep.
Very, very high quality from Crate and Barrel.
Yep.
And honestly, thank God, 'cause we don't use it for anything but to collect crap and mail, and we don't ever sit at a kitchen table.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm glad we never spent the money on that.
Yeah. I'll tell you off air what we're talking about. Because I do not want our tens, sometimes thousands, actually,
Yeah,
of listeners to really figure out what's going on here. I need to win a bunch of fantasy baseball this year.
To pay for your kitchenette set.
Yes, literally. All right, Jason. So what do we got coming up first today?
All right. Well, we kind of alluded to it at the beginning of the episode, but it is opening day eve. So it's that time of year again where we've done this. I think this is about our 4th year running, where we look into our crystal balls, dig deep, and look into the future and see and predict all of the major awards as well as the World Series winners. So we're going to go through them all: Rookie of the Year, Cy Young, MVP, and that's for both leagues, both the AL and the NL. I believe. Well, we have a graphic this year, so that makes it a little bit easier.
Yes, we do have a graphic.
Which I didn't even think of until just now. So thank God we made that graphic. That would be a huge help, because we do circle back, end the year, see what we got wrong, see what we got right, and it's always fun because I know, I think this year I did go a little bit more chalk, but I think in years past I've kind of tried to give dark horses.
Yes.
So it's fun to go back and look at some of the dark horse picks, and I'm just like way off on these dark horse picks. I did throw in one dark horse pick, maybe two, but I kind of kept it a little bit more what is really going to happen this year. I think we'll have some fun and get into these things and talk through it and see where our heads are at going into 2025.
Yeah, I'm actually very excited, and I'm excited just for some of my rationale behind some of these, because as the listeners will see, some of them are a little bit homery, and you only have one homer as like as a spoiler for the listener.
Yeah, exactly. All right, before we do so, let's get into some business side of things. Nick, why don't you tell people about Fantrax?
Yeah, man. So Fantrax is the only place I will play fantasy sports. More likely than not, the only place I will ever play fantasy sports. Mostly because of the deep player pool, but also their customer service is great. All of those great things. There's usually not like a crazy fee either. I do know back in the day, I used to do a fantasy league with my dad on CBS, and there was always like a crazy fee. Yes, there is a payable version on Fantrax, but there is a non-payable version as well. So I do love how they give you that option. Fantrax, the only place to play fantasy baseball.
Love it. All right. Well, I figure we'll go down the line from like most boring to obviously everyone's favorite MVP and things like that. So with that said, we're going to start off with our Rookie of the Year. And I'll let you go first. You can either pick AL or NL, whatever you want to go first.
All right. We're going to go a little bit of AL action here. I'm going to go with my second baseman, Mr. Christian Campbell. Christian Campbell, relative unknown, not unknown, but like relative unknown a year ago. Meteoric rise throughout the Red Sox system. And this is someone that I'm giving Chaim Bloom his flowers on this. This was the comp pick for Xander Bogaerts.
Love that.
And he very well might be Xander Bogaerts like 2 years later. And that's phenomenal. I think my main concern is I worry that they're not going to let him struggle. But what I absolutely love is the signing of Bregman with Christian Campbell. The veteran presence on this team is fantastic right now. Whether it's Devers, who's kind of being a D-bag about not playing third base.
Yeah.
But these guys know how to hit, and they know how to be professionals. And I think that's really going to rub off on Campbell. I don't know if you can get Rookie of the Year by only going 2020, but I think he can go 2020, and he's on the Sox. So I'm going with Christian Campbell here. He could also see some time in the outfield, play shortstop, play second. I went to a Portland Sea Dogs game last year, which is Double-A, and he hit a home run and a double. So I'm good luck for Christian Campbell. I plan on getting to some games in April. I plan on buying a Christian Campbell jersey as well.
Love that.
So,
I forgot you're a jersey guy, which is actually phenomenal because who wants to pay $150 on a replica jersey and then he gets traded, 3 years later?
yeah, I do have one jersey. It's the City Connect Devers, the yellow marathon one.
Yeah, that's
They're
sick.
coming out with a new City Connect. It's green
I
for like
wanted to get
monster.
real quick. What are your thoughts on these teams now rebranding City Connect? I know I've seen DC do a new one. I've heard some other ones, people getting ready to release some new ones. I know it's all a money grab, but
I'm all in. Give me all the weird shit,
yeah,
Like there's just so much stuff to actually be angry about with baseball. Jerseys are not it for me.
yeah,
I'm a sucker for the like if there's ever a new like Red Sox logo, like there was a year where they had the socks on the hat. That was the
right,
first thing I bought. Like just anything new. Give me
yeah.
new merch.
One,
Especially because me and you can kind of relate here. Cubs and Red Sox. They're boring.
very
It's
traditionalist,
boring.
boring.
All of our teams, really.
Yeah,
Blackhawks, they're all just like they're too original teamy.
yeah,
So they're like, we're not doing anything cool. So
I
this is
agree.
kind of giving us the chance to, and like, who cares if they're ugly? Like, I wear a highlighter yellow Rafael Devers jersey to Fenway Park, and it's great.
Yeah, I love it. I think more teams should embrace what like kind of what the Diamondbacks are doing, where they have like I don't even know the amount of combinations they have at this point, but I know like they roll out like at least 8 different combinations of their jersey between home and away. Or like the Oregon Ducks, for example, in college. I think their
Yes.
football jerseys had like 122 different combinations. Like we need more of that. Kind of, it's 2025. Let's get rid of some of these 100-year-old. I mean, the Cubs have been wearing the white and blue pinstripes for 100 plus years now. Okay, let's switch it up here. And like you said, if it's ugly, who cares? In 2-3 years, you're going to create another City Connect, and the other one's just going to go by the wayside. So I agree. I'm all with it. Love the
Yeah,
Christian Campbell.
I'm actually pumped because the Red Sox actually announced, even though they're having their new one, they're keeping the yellow for the
Oh,
marathon, for like the marathon games and stuff.
yeah, like the what's that Patriots Day when they have that?
So what's funny is they don't actually wear the marathon jersey on Patriots Day.
Oh, weird.
They have another alternate. It's the Boston one. So it's the one when David Ortiz said, "This is our fucking," it was right after the marathon bombing. So
Okay,
they use these specific, like instead of Red Sox on the front of the white jersey, it says Boston. But yeah,
nice.
so all in on there was a point, I think 2 years ago, where they were like 18-2 when they wore the yellow jerseys. It was
Oh
wild.
man,
Yeah.
roll those things out every day.
Literally, yeah.
All right, I like the Christian Campbell pick. Rookie of the year is always so hard because sometimes rookies start the season and then they're sent down. Sometimes there's a lot of recency bias. Guys don't come up like last year. Skeens, don't get me wrong, Skeens deserved it, but he didn't come up till like middle of the season and then tore it up. But my pick, so rookie of the year again is really volatile. But I'm gonna go Jackson Jobe, kind of along the same lines of Paul Skeens last year. Only the difference this year is Jobe is starting the year in the rotation. Like again, similar along the lines, thinking of with Paul Skeens, obviously not going to be. I obviously will not be quite as dominant as Skeens was last year, but he reached 90 innings last year in 2024. He did get a small taste last September, about 4 innings at the end of September last year. But I think he could easily get into that 120, 140 innings pitched this year, 150, and that'll definitely give him a leg up in the race for rookie of the year. Because obviously, I feel like the pitchers can get a little bit of an edge on rookie of the year too, because they have a little bit more of an out. They kind of determine the outcomes of the game sometimes more than what I
Yeah,
mean. If Jackson
they
Jobe
definitely
goes
have
out and
more of an
wins 10
impact.
games,
Yeah.
yeah, if he goes out and wins 10 games and strikes out 100 batters in 120 innings, I mean that's almost guaranteed lock for rookie of the year. So, but he's got a huge strikeout upside. He's going to maintain decent ratios. Should be able to get some decent amount of W's too. The Tigers, they've been look to be improved this year. They've improved the lineup. Right now he's starting as Tigers SP5. I wouldn't be surprised if he's up to SP3 by the end of the year and kind of overtakes that Reese Olson role. Again, as long as he can stay healthy, and doesn't, I don't think any reason to see him struggle. I think, wheels up for Jackson Jobe.
Yeah, I'm totally with you there. I drafted him everywhere I could for a redraft because you were just kind of like we've said, you kind of just got to like take a stance on someone in these redraft drafts, like the TGFBIs and the Earth leagues and stuff like that. So he was someone I was targeting late, just to hope he made the rotation, and he did. And I have seen some actual discourse on Twitter about him, which I'm very surprised at. I've seen a lot of people being like, "Oh, he walks too many batters," but like, it's fine. He's a young pitcher, guys. Like, let's let him develop. He's got a hell of a Tariq Skubal to like learn from. The closer he gets to Skubal, the better.
Right.
So totally with you there. Love the pick.
Yeah. All right. Well, who you got for the NL?
NL. It was so hard because the answer is Roki. It is.
Yep.
It's just he is who will win most likely. But I went with Dylan Cruz, who I think people are sleeping on strictly because he was so bad last year in his cup of tea, I guess you could say. He played 31 games, slashed the 218, 288, 353. 12 stolen bases, though. That's something that we really need to like look at, because I think again we could see like a 20 home run output from Dylan Cruz and steal 40 bases, and that would be maybe not Roki level because he's not on the Dodgers and he's not a starting pitcher playing these high profile games. But I think Cruz has shown me enough throughout college and his minor leagues that he's a baseball player. He is one of those like Dustin Pedroia, like dirt dog type of guys. And I think we're going to see a resurgence of the Nationals coming up soon. We've got the Wood, we've got Cruz. Luis Garcia had somewhat of a breakout last year. Jarlin Santana's going to be up soon, the pitcher. Yep. I think the Nationals might be flourishing soon, and I think Dylan Cruz is going to have a coming out party this year.
No, I like that a lot. I think the NL's got a little bit more of a wide open as far as rookie years, just because there's so many to choose from. Also, one other thing that I just found out today, which we kind of already knew, but Cam Smith is making the opening day roster for the Astros.
Yes.
So he's also got a little bit of a leg up in AL. So,
did you see the video of him getting the news?
I did, and I saw it on my Twitter feed, but I have not had a chance to watch it yet. I saw his family.
Did I cry? I did. I did cry.
Yeah, I think Dylan Cruz has every ability to win Rookie of the Year, and I'm here to say that I don't know if Roki is guaranteed to win it. Obviously, if he stays healthy, he probably will. But I'm here to think that I'm kind of worried about Roki.
Okay,
he's getting a second opinion on some elbow fatigue. He was recommended to get Tommy John surgery after last season. He did that weird like recovery.
Yeah,
he didn't get it. Now he's having elbow pains. And that's not to say that I feel like he's going to get Tommy John, but it wouldn't shock me if he comes out after like one or two more starts and has to miss the rest of the year because of elbow surgery. That's just my thoughts on that, but we never know with these guys. But yes, if there's a front runner favorite, it's Roki Sasaki. So my NL pick, similar to your AL pick, is a homer pick. And that's not just because it's a homer pick, but I also feel like him as a legitimate shot.
For sure.
He's on the opening day roster, which always helps. That's Matt Shaw of my Chicago Cubs. Similar to Jobe, he's going to be on the opening day roster, so he should get a lot of plate appearances to help him with his case to win Rookie of the Year as long as he produces with those plate appearances. He's coming off of a great 2024 season. There was many people calling for his call-up at the end of last year, September, when they were making that push towards the playoffs. In 2024, he had a 20 home run, 30 stolen base season in 121 games. I think that power speed combo should really continue to develop in the majors. He's going to play so from what I've seen so far, he looks every bit capable of playing third base defensively. He should be able to stay there and man the hot corner. Cubs have nobody else to play the hot corner, really, unless you want to consider Justin Turner an option, which at his late age, I don't really consider him an option at third base. So it's pretty much him or John Birdie at third. So Matt Shaw's going to get every bit of his opportunities there at third base, and I think that'll, get him the plate appearance and the playing time. My only concern with Shaw is some of the contact concerns. If he can hit for a decent average, like in the 250 to 270 range, I think he has a really good legitimate chance of going 2020 and bringing home that Rookie of the Year.
Yeah. Shaw is someone that I've been trying to think of a Shaw comp, and just going off of something that we talked about last week, he belongs on the Reds.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Just like he's just a Reds player. He's, again, kind of like a Dylan Cruz, like a Dustin Pedroia, like a gritty infielder that'll dive. He'll have a bloody nose and like hit a single. So definitely someone I'm keeping an eye on. I do remember how there was that chatter last year. People were like, let's just bring him up now. I think there was there talk of putting him at first base at one point?
Yeah, they were trying to get and then second base when Horner was getting hurt. They were trying to get his bat in the lineup anywhere they could. Again, he was drafted as a second baseman. His natural position is second base. They moved him to third out of necessity just to get his bat into the lineup because they already have obviously Horner at second. So, but yeah, I know they're trying to move him around wherever they could last year and try to get him up. But honestly, with the Cubs missing the playoffs, I'm kind of glad that they didn't bring him up, obviously. So, and now they get the chance to get that comp pick if he does win the Rookie of the Year, or at least come in top 3. All right, from Rookie of the Years, we'll jump over to Cy Young, and then you kick us off either AL or NL, whatever you like.
Let's go NL. We'll stick with that. This is somewhat of a dark horse, I'd say. Not like a top guy, but someone that I really believe in this year. And what I do really need to stress is I'm really banking on a full season. And I'm going to talk about Hunter Green here. He's someone that was on the cover of Sports Illustrated in high school. Like, we're talking like gigantic hype. And he just kind of kept getting hurt a little bit. Like in high school, he got hurt. Then the Reds took a flyer on him in the draft, and he was phenomenal last year. I really think no one talks about just how good he was. Give me 1 second. His ERA in 150 innings was 2.75. He was a 6.2 WAR player. How many? I'm sorry.
And that's half of those games are played in the Great American Ballpark, which is arguably the worst pitcher park.
Exactly. 150 innings, almost. He had 46 earned runs, and he's just somewhat this whole team. I can't really quit right now, and you're going to find out when I talk about MVPs later. But we've got Terry Francona there.
Yeah,
there's something going on with the Reds. I think this is going to be a bonus bet. Most strikeouts in the MLB currently at plus 3,000 is Hunter Green.
Wow.
$5 gets you 155. If we can get 200 innings, I think we could easily eclipse 200 strikeouts. Easily. I'm saying 200 to like 225, 250. And he's still 25. He's just so good. He's 6'5". Like, he's just someone that I don't really think people talk about as him being an ace, but he's right up there with any of the other guys of his like ilk. And I'm just really excited for the Reds this year.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things you mentioned is some of the people are overlooking. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. Is Terry Francona going to the Reds? He is such a valuable manager. They always say like most managers they had about 2 or 3 wins. You're talking about WAR for managers. I think it's like a good manager adds like 2 or 3. A great manager adds like 5 or 6. I think Francona easily adds 5 or 6 wins to any team he's managing. Guy has been nothing but a phenomenal manager from his time in Boston to Cleveland. I think he's going to do wonders here in Cincinnati. If the Reds can stay healthy, which they did not last year, if they can stay healthy, I think they have every legitimate chance of winning that division. And Hunter Green, you're right. I think he was very undervalued last year. He only had a 1.02 WHIP in 150 innings. With
Hold on. I've got some breaking news.
Okay.
Oh, unfortunately, it is not baseball related. Stephon Diggs signed with the Patriots.
Oh, that's very Boston centric for you. But yeah, no, I like it. Like, I think Hunter Green, like you said, leading the league in strikeouts. That's very tempting at plus 3,000.
Like, it's free, and it's not free, but like $5 gets you like a good night out. You know?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, no, I'm gonna check out Underdog too. I was looking at some Underdogs futures and not sponsored or anything, but Underdog futures. I'll have to look and see what the Hunter Green strikeouts were because I bet you he'll hit the over on that again as long as he can stay healthy. All right, we'll go with I'll stick with your thing and I'll keep it short and simple in the NL, and it's Paul Skeens. I could sit here and rattle off a million different reasons on why. Paul Skeens is going to win the Cy Young, but I think it's easier just to say why he won't win the award, and that's if he gets injured. If Skeens stays healthy, it's his award to lose, and we'll move on.
I mean, yeah.
Give me a reason why I should sit here and list off reasons why Paul Skeens will win the Cy Young versus why I can just tell you, if as long as he stays healthy, he's winning the Cy Young in the NL.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I mean, the guy is just so dominant. I'm not even kidding. I feel like we're seeing like the next coming of a right-handed Randy Johnson.
He's phenomenal.
Phenomenal. And I can't get enough of it, and I can't wait to see more of it here starting on Thursday.
Shout out Libby Dunn.
I saw her post a little something on Twitter today about she's on the SI swimsuit cover again for like a third or fourth year in a row. But yeah, the meme of him winning the rookie, was that the rookie of the year or him being drafted? Yeah. When he's just like monotone. Is that him being drafted, right?
Yeah, I think it was.
She was like so excited, and he was just like, whatever. But yeah, I'm not going to go into any further. Cy Young's or Paul Skeens your Cy Young win in the NL this year.
All right. Well, how about you just go again because you didn't get to say much about Paul Skeens. So go off on AL.
All right, I'll go on with my AL pick. Kind of similar to yours. It's a little bit more of a dark horse. And I'm going to go with Logan Gilbert of the Seattle Mariners. Picking out an AL Cy Young was a little bit harder than I thought it was going to be. Kind of going up and down the list. Obviously, there's guys like Scooble who could maybe possibly repeat, but I just wasn't sure. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to throw out a little bit of a dark horse here. I don't know what the odds are, but Gilbert's been super dependable over the last 3 seasons. He's had right around, I think, 200 or just right around 200 innings pitched over the last 3 years. We've seen it improve every year over year. He even received Cy Young votes in 2024. He led the league in WHIP with a 0.88 WHIP, and he also did that with the most innings pitched last year. And he also struck out 220 batters. So, I mean, he's already getting in the contention window for Cy Young last year. Obviously, I think it was him neck and neck between him and Scooble last year. Obviously, Scooble did a little bit better as far as the strikeouts went, but I think he can replicate his 2024 numbers. I think he can get a little bit more run support and boost some of those wins. He only had 9 wins last year. That's large part thanks to his underperforming teammates.
They were really disappointing.
They had like the best pitching staff, and then they just could not score runs. They even traded for Rosarena, and they still couldn't even get any runs. But I think they snap out of that this year. He gets back to 15-plus wins, and that should be enough, I think, to get him over that hump and win this Cy Young this year.
Yeah, Gilbert is someone that what's funny is I think he's the 3rd pitcher I'm targeting from that staff, mostly just because of the ADP. But like, I think I'd rather have Bryce Miller and Brian Wu for where they're going in drafts. But Logan Gilbert is head and shoulders the best pitcher on that staff. So I'm totally with you there. But unfortunately, you are incredibly wrong. He is not winning the Cy Young, Jason. Okay. Because do you know who is going to win the Cy Young?
Tell me.
Mr. Garrett Crochet. of the Boston Red Sox. You could argue that if he played the full season last year with the White Sox, as in like played, as in didn't shut him down, didn't like play with his innings, he would have won the Cy Young last year. And now he's on a top market like the Boston Red Sox with a team that has playoff and World Series aspirations, the Boston Red Sox. I think we see a nice 20 to 22 games won, nice 200, 225 strikeouts, sub 3 ERA. Do you know what his K per nine was during spring training?
14.
18, Jason.
Oh, shit.
Imagine a world where that's actually possible.
Right.
So yeah, I'm buying the Kool-Aid here, and we also spoke about this last week. I am slightly panicked about the lack of extension. We do have him for next year as well, but I don't love going into a negotiation next year, fresh off of a Cy Young. But very excited. This is the most excited I've been about a Red Sox team, and because they actually have the pig at the top of their rotation. So I'm ready to roll.
Yeah, I love the pick. I have Crochet in a couple leagues, and I am all for Crochet going off and having an 18K per nine. That's two batters an inning. So
Yeah,
I'm all for that. I mean, obviously that won't continue in the regular season, but you could definitely sit around 12K per nine, 10 to 12 easily, and I'm all for it, man. All right, let's get into some more fun stuff and some more people's favorites. That's MVP this year. This one's always tricky because, Cy Young, you're only getting a pitcher. MVP,
so let's go NL because we both have the same AL.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I'll start. I'm going to go with Ellie. I don't want this to sound hyperbolic. He might steal 100 bases. And he can easily hit 30 home runs. And again, it's so funny because when we do our World Series pick, you're going to be like, oh, well, Nick obviously picked the Reds to be in the World Series, but I didn't. They're going to have the Cy Young and the MVP and not make the World Series. But yeah, I've been targeting Ellie everywhere. Every one of my KDSs, I'm doing 4, and I get it every time. And I get Ellie every time. I think I have 3 or 4 shares of Ellie, whether it be TGFBI, Nerf, a couple of my home leagues. So I'm all in on Ellie. I think he's going to be a special player this year. And I'm very excited about it because a 30-100 season would be crazy. So if this was our bold prediction show, my bold prediction, Ellie goes 30-100.
Nice. I mean, that might be the last time someone stole 100 bases. Did Ricky get 100? He's probably the last one. I know he got 99. I don't know if he got 100. I'm pretty sure he did, though. I have to look it up. Maybe you can look it up while I'm talking about my guy.
Yeah.
100 stolen bases would be epic to see. And I think we're trending that way. I mean, we saw Ohtani get 50. We saw, what's his name, get 70. Acuna. So, yeah, that'd be amazing. My pick is a dark horse. And I wanted to try and think out of the box. I felt it was needed to give some sort of non-chalk pick, and this is my non-chalk pick. And that's Corbin Carroll. Rebounds nicely this year and gets back into that MVP form. Obviously, this is a bit of dark horse because he plays in the same league as Ohtani, and Ohtani is just a freak. That's probably most likely going to win his 3rd MVP in a row. But we are only 1 year removed from his Rookie of the Year season where he actually saw top 5 MVP votes in 2023, Corbin Carroll. 2024 started off really slow. Bit of a down year, made his numbers super deflated. But he came back in the second half and had a super strong end of the season. In the second half of last year, he hit 17 home runs, stole 17 bags, drove in 42 runs, and scored 61 times. Had a 919 OPS in the second half. I think he kind of fixed whatever was plaguing him at the beginning there. Maybe there have been injuries or whatnot, but I really like what I saw in the second half of Corbin Carroll. And if he can get into that like 30-50, 30-60 of like that Acuna season from 2 years ago, I think he has a chance to outperform Ohtani as far as getting MVP votes.
This is bold. What's so funny is I feel like all of our MVPs were very stolen base dependent.
Yeah, I
They're
know.
all like 5-tool guys. And I feel like we're close to the resurgence of like the all-around 5-tool guy. We're no longer in like the masher era of like, I don't know if Jose Batista actually ever won a MVP, but like the like hit 60, even like the Judge, like that's fine, but he's not a 5-tool guy.
Right.
I think I love the players that we picked for all of our MVPs, mainly because they play the game and they steal bases. They're taking advantage of the rules, and I'm curious how much the rules actually impact this. As in, like the stolen bases, like we've saw like an influx the last couple of years. The last 100, Ricky stole 130 stolen bases in 1982.
That was the last 100 stolen base season, correct?
Yes. Yeah. Rick Anderson did it in 1980 as well. Oh, wait. Oh, this is funny. In 1894, someone named Billy Hamilton stole 100 bases. Because I was like, wait, Billy Hamilton stole 100 bases?
Yeah. I remember it fondly, the
Yeah,
1894 season.
I'm sure. Yeah. So definitely in on that. But yeah, I'm pumped for Ellie stole 67 last year. So I think
Yep.
we can get another 33 and then call it a day.
All right, I know we both have the same AL, so before we get into our AL pick, we do have a question here on the hotline. Frank wants to know our thoughts on Mason Wynn being dropped from the leadoff to the ninth in the order because of his poor spring training. Listen, man, I don't know if you were here for our season preview or our breakouts article that I wrote, but I was all in on Mason Wynn this year going into the season. Everything leading up to about yesterday has everyone believing that Wynn was going to be the leadoff hitter. They kept saying it in the spring training. This is like, he was in the leadoff spot. He's going to be our leadoff hitter. Then obviously he just had a just horrific spring. I don't know whether he was working on something or what, but I mean, he just didn't hit, didn't get on base, didn't do anything. Obviously, him dropping to the 9 hole is going to highly affect his value. Hopefully, it's just a short-term thing. Maybe if he gets his swing corrected and he can actually start getting some hits, he gets projected back into the top of that lineup, and then his value gets increased. But right now, I definitely got to drop him down. If you're drafting, today or tomorrow, and you're looking for a late round, I wouldn't wait on Mason Wynn as like a sleeper you can count on, at least for right now, because I think we're going to see a lot of the run score go down. And at this point, it looks like the average and the OBP might even take a big hit. So I'm dropping Mason Wynn and any of my rankings going forward when it comes to drafting right now.
Yeah, so my only thing is he batted leadoff every single game of spring training, and today was the first time he was in the 9 hole, and it was against another righty.
Yeah.
So if we're only seeing this against righties, he had a tough spring. It's just kind of how it goes.
Yep.
But he's good enough at defense to stick in that lineup. So and he's a good enough. We saw last year that he's a good hitter. So I think his defense will keep him in the lineup and his bat will eventually come alive, because we're still talking about a 23-year-old shortstop for a prominent organization.
Yep.
So I think I'm not worried at all, like not even the slightest bit.
All right, back to the MVP talk. We both have the same guy, and that's Bobby Witt Jr. Not too much of a stretch here either. That's why I had to give out that Corbin Carroll pick. I had to throw something dark horse. Bobby Witt's pretty chalky here. Came in second last year in MVP voting. Finished obviously second behind Judge. But I mean, you're talking about a 9.5 WAR player last year. Led the league in hits, batting average. Oh, and by the way, he also stole 31 bags. I think he can even improve on some of those numbers. I think he can steal more bases. I think he can hit more home runs. I think the lineup is going to be slightly improved this year. I think it's more about can Judge continue his streaks versus Bobby Witt can continue his streaks. And I think this year Bobby Witt can kind of continue, maybe take a slight jump up in production and see him overtake Judge for that AL MVP. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, so we both had it. And so when I was making the graphic that you guys are gonna see soon, that is chef's kiss. I was like, hope he doesn't pick Bobby Witt because I'm sure as hell not gonna pick Aaron Judge. But it's really feels like a two-man race here, and I'm fully aware that season has not started. But Bobby Witt he's the next generational player for us, I think. I think it's him, Skeens and Ellie, it's their league. And I think this is the year we're gonna see that big jump from all of these tier of young position players. And baseball is in such a great place when it comes to young superstars right now, because we've reached the point where the stars are millennials and like Gen Z, and they're good at promoting themselves as opposed to the league promoting them. So I'm very excited just to see where these two go.
I agree. Let's jump over here to our prediction for the whole season, and that's our World Series winners. I'm going to bring the graphic up now since that'll
There it is.
That's the yep. Let me get this the overlay out of the way here real quick so we can kind of see that bottom section with our
yeah. I'm gonna start here. So Sox, obviously. I'm wearing my 2004 Red Sox World Champions hat in case anyone can see. But I know this is gonna sound crazy because like it's kind of like my like bit here is being like the Homer Sox fan. I legitimately think that this team's gonna win the World Series. If Crochet can stay healthy, if Devers gets his panties out of a bunch about being paid millions of dollars to be a DH.
Yeah.
You already got your contract, bro.
Here's the funny thing is with Devers, if your boss came to you and said, "Hey Nick, we're gonna pay you the same amount of money, and you only gotta do half the work," you'd be like, yeah.
And it's not even just that, Jason. You're gonna be the DH in a place that had the greatest DH in MLB history. Like there's like a lineage here. Another Dominican player. Like all David Ortiz has to do is just go down, put his hand on Rafi's shoulder, and he goes,
yeah.
But you know what? David Ortiz said no. He should be playing third base. But yeah, man, Sox. So I guess I'm just gonna kind of talk about the Phillies because the Sox are just sick. But the Phillies are so good. I almost picked Zach Wheeler as my NL Cy Young, but this Phillies team just kind of feels like the team that's been like knocking on the door the last like 3 years. It's very much the Dave Dombrowski method of like, we're going to be there. It's just a matter if we can perform on like the biggest stage. And currently they haven't. And I think this is the year the monkey gets off their back and they make it to the World Series, but the Sox beat them in 6.
Yeah. It was always hard to predict the World Series in the biggest marathon sporting league there is. But I think the AL is a little bit more wide open than the NL. So I kind of was trying to figure out who do I think could win. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go a little bit of a random. I'm going to go with the Orioles. I think, last year we kind of saw them take that next step and get into the playoffs. And then obviously they kind of just didn't have that experience. And it almost looked like they were overwhelmed at what was going on once they got there. But the only thing worried about me is they kind of don't really have a lot of that SP depth that can help make them run. but I think just maybe they'll make a trade at the deadline. You know, who knows, things can change. But their offensive bullpen should definitely keep them in games, can be competitive for that division. Again, maybe they make a move at the end of the deadline to get us some more SP depth. But I mean, I know it's super hard to repeat in baseball, but how do you bet against this Dodgers team, man? Not only did they just win the World Series, they basically won the offseason. They continued to add depth in the starting rotation. They added Roki. They basically have 2 MLB starting caliber rotations, and other 5 are down in the AAA. I mean, they added onto their bullpen. They added onto their lineup. I mean, what plagued them last year when they had made all those trades at the deadline to get the pitching depth and the bullpen depth, they already have that this offseason. So now they can even continue to build at the trade deadline that's part of their super deep farm system. They continue to trade away, which they've been doing for the last 15 years. They just get these guys and they trade them away at the deadline. As much as I don't want to see the Dodgers win again, it's hard to gamble and say that they won't win again. I just think they're too good. They're too rich. They're too fast. They're too strong. Dodgers win it again.
Yeah. You could argue that Dustin May, the Dodgers' 5th starter, is better than any starting pitcher on the Baltimore Orioles.
Right. It's crazy.
Like, it's truly just remarkable. And in the end, you're probably correct. But
right. But again, it is very hard to repeat. So there is that.
It is so hard. I don't know if you did you see this Mookie Betts stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't look into it too deep, but he lost like 30 pounds and couldn't eat food. But I guess he held down food today. So
good.
He was in the lineup today, and
Okay.
he's definitely on track to play on Thursday. So
Okay. All right, great. Yeah, there was a bug going around the Red Sox locker room as well.
Okay.
So I wonder, like, there's got to be something in the water somewhere. But yeah. All right.
So there's the graphic. We got all that done. But with baseball right around the corner, we have some more fun things to talk about. And before we get you out of here,
we are 0-1 on the season, or 0-2, I guess. But I'll start off today.
okay.
We're gonna go 2-team money line parlay. The Red Sox at minus 118, which isn't like awful.
Yeah.
We got Crochet on the mound playing the Rangers. I'm not terrified of the Rangers. And then we've got at minus 130 the Royals against the Guardians. We got Cole Reagans on the mound. So that parlayed is plus 226. So that means $10 wins you 32 total dollars. And
that's funny. That's funny you bring up that game. That's where my pick comes from.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, we got Bybee versus Reagans taking the under 7.5 runs. It is minus 120, but I feel like that's pretty much the max you can get as far as, like, I wouldn't go anything less than 120, but at minus 120, under 7.5, it's in Kansas City. It's probably going to be like a high of 50. Both Bybee and Reagans have a bunch of swing and miss stuff. Under 7.5 runs right now on the Guardians Royals. Yeah.
So since you're really banking on the starting pitchers, would you consider a first 5 under?
Oh, that I can't. No, because Reagans can be volatile. He'll definitely give up a walk and then a home run.
So yeah.
But I would definitely go on the total game under.
Yeah. I'm a big first 5 guy.
I'm a big Nerfy guy, but I think like I would take I don't know what the odds are on the Nerfy in that game, but
yeah, easy.
It's probably pushing minus 200. But this game screams like a 2-1, 3-1 kind of game. Maybe even I could even see maybe at the most 4-2. I don't see getting 8 runs in that game, so I'm gonna go under 7.5 in the Guardians Royals game.
All right, Jason.
All right, Nick.
Time we can actually talk about some baseball.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty. This is the most excited I've been about a baseball season in a very long time, and I'm fully aware it's because the Red Sox are actually good, and I'm gonna be heartbroken if they're not. So, so they fucking better be good. And also, just I truly feel like this is the best I will ever do in fantasy baseball this season. So this is my peak. I need to take home as many championships, as many accolades
Yeah.
as I can.
We need to see those trophies lined up in the back behind you.
Yeah, I don't know if I literally, so I have 3 like trophy mugs of like
Okay.
baseball bats.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, like maybe I'll add them to my background. She said no. Because this is also our work background.
Right.
But yeah, no, she did. She didn't want them there.
All right, Nick. Well, go Sox.
Go
Go
Sox.
Cubbies.
Go Cubbies.
We'll talk
Go
next week.
Cubs. Go.